Welcome to SciTech Culture with Steve Kern and Ben Warner, where we examine science, technology, and culture in the 21st century. Visit our website at scitechculture.com. Hello and welcome to SciTech Culture. My name is Ben Warner and I'm joined once again by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern to talk about why passwords and having multiple different ones for all your different accounts is of paramount importance in a world where we live so much of our existence online, and especially with our data. So Steve, I think I saw an ABC article where it was just a reiteration of why it's important to have so many different passwords now. You can't really, or it's like playing Russian roulette, I guess, if you're, you've got the same password on every account that you've got. And the main thing about this ABC article that they wanted to drive the point home on that is good practice is that you should have a different password for every account that you have. And the reason for that is that if any one account is compromised by a hacker, the hacker could then go and log into every one of your other accounts, and then you're screwed. So I don't know about you, what if you've got a particular solution yourself for this. I picked up a password manager for my iPhone I think it must have been a couple of years ago, that generates gibberish, almost impossible to decipher passwords. It can store every one of your accounts in there, and then all you have to do is instead of remembering passwords, you just open up the password manager, look up the account you want to log into, and then you've got the password right there for you to get into. And I've found that to be a really, really good way of handling things. And as this article says, if you have something like that in place, it really reduces the chances of you maybe not getting hacked, but the hack from spreading to everything that you've got.
Well, that's it. Let's face it, if you had a Yahoo account and you use that email address as your username, and you use the same password as your Yahoo account, but everything else, you can see why you'd instantly be in a lot of trouble. So I don't use a password manager. I probably should, but I don't. What I use is a series of different emails with different levels of security on them, and also then a password system that I can remember that has different levels of security on it again.
Yeah.
And I'll just match the two to that, and that's how I can remember it. So I've built a memory system for myself.
Yeah.
Look, it's very frightening when somebody, hacks all of Yahoo and theoretically could then just go through, because you can use that Yahoo address for banking, finance, insurance, whatever, and they can just insert that email address over and over and over again to get what they need. I find it really interesting. I think from the Ashley Madison hack, the most common password was 654321 or something like that, or 123456. They were both in there anyway in the top 10. So
Well,
I mean,
I think
I'd like to think that most people aren't doing that across all of their accounts.
Absolutely. But I think what it can be scary to, say watching the news, one of these hacks occur and you wonder, is my account being hacked or whatever. I mean, not to, you should always be vigilant with your accounts and your security around them. But I find that the hackers are successful for the reason that you just described there, that people are a bit careless with the passwords that they generate and don't put in the effort to actually do it. And you'll find that the people that, more often than not, that will get hacked into are the ones that haven't set up really decent passwords for their accounts.
Actually, I will give one tip out there if anyone's listening. For instance, if you have, your bills or whatever sent to an email address, which most of us do these days, it's good just to have a single email address for that and only use for that. So when you try and when you get phished through any of your other accounts, you realise, hey, hang on, this isn't my. I don't use this email address. Because I've seen people get phished. There's some very effective phishing schemes as we know. I've seen people infected with ransomware, and I know this is a bit different to that, but, you can use your email addresses. It's very easy these days to have a whole host of them. You can use them also as security in terms of knowing what should be arriving into your inbox, because the safest thing is, when it comes to email, is if you're not expecting it, someone hasn't sent you a snail mail letter first telling you that you're going to get something, a little parcel attached to an email, don't open it. I know, I've been it.
Yeah, absolutely. And a good point there is that the email name that you choose, if you make it hard to guess as well. So, for instance, quite a few years ago, I changed the Facebook email address that I use to something that you couldn't guess. But I mean, I can obviously remember. Obviously, I'm not going to say what that is, but rather than having info as a info or something like that, which is very generic and common across so many different places, it's best not to use something generic like that. The other thing that is a good tip, and this is particularly around anyone that's using cloud services, because you've got like documents, videos, photos, and whatever stored in the cloud, is to switch on two-factor authentication as well, with which actually, relating that back to me personally, I had an issue with my OneDrive account at one point where I got this email from Microsoft saying, someone in China's tried to access your account, and basically they basically shut it off, and I had to reset the password, but they couldn't get in because I had two-factor authentication switched on, which basically means the short of it is that you've got a password. That's your first factor of authentication. Your second factor is you get pinged on a separate device with it depends on how it happens. Like, so the Google has one where it generates a random code every 30 seconds associated with your account. So there's never one code. They're all random generated numbers or letters. Microsoft does one where the app will ping you saying, give you a random generated numbers. This approval's just come through, and it'll match the one that's on the screen that you're looking at, and you can say approve or cancel, and then that will do it. And that's actually really useful. I feel a lot more secure with that sort of thing in place, because even if on the off chance they break your indecipherable password, they still can't get through because of that second factor that they have to get past.
And that's good, because that is a personal verification.
And I find that's best when you're dealing with your cloud services in particular, because these days we're storing so much in the cloud that you really want to be able to protect that as much as possible.
Well, if anyone gets in there, I mean, that's it. You can either have 10 terabyte drives backing everything up, or you go to the cloud, and if you put something like your photos and memories in the cloud, you better make sure that no one else is going to erase them or ransom them from you.
What'll be interesting going forward, and maybe before you just finish up thinking about the future, is what the authentication methods will be going forward. The biometrics is something that obviously it's not new. Obviously, fingerprint scanners have made their way onto devices, and I love using my fingerprint to unlock my phone, or to authorize a transaction or something like that. That's very useful. There's also, I guess, the old eyeball retina scan, I guess, that they're looking at. There's rumors of next generations of devices having facial recognition, retina recognition, retina scanning, that sort of thing. Do you think any of those have possibilities in terms of how good they could be?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I think you would think that fingerprints would be pretty good, but people are always going to work out a way to hack them. I think ANZ Bank this week announced that they were going to go to voice recognition, obviously for phone banking sort of stuff. So, I mean, they're investing a lot in the biometrics, so you'd have to say there's something in it.
Yeah.
Probably in the short term there is, but in the longer term, as we've seen with video editing and creating or creative software, perhaps if all I need is a sample of your voice, and I can then use auto tunes or something to sound just like you and hack your account. And I'm reasonably sure that if you can build it, as they always say, you can break it.
Yeah, absolutely. So remember, always stay vigilant, and that's a good point to finish up on. All right, we'll wrap it up there. So don't forget our website, scitechculture.com. You can get all of our links and content there. You can subscribe to our channels, if I can get that word out, and hope you enjoy all the content. All right, so that's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.